The majority that we video is kitchen action, but there are things that bring us out of the kitchen to video, and this happens to be one of them. Howdy folks, I'm Martha and I welcome you to Hirschberger's Miracle Homestead. And as life happens at most places, which it happened here, we had activity that happened that is getting us out of the kitchen for this video. I'm standing in the shade of this tree, and this tree is what inspired the video. And we will tell the story what happened while Junior is cleaning up. Our brother Junior and our 4 nephews have all told us many a time if we ever need them, call. So Junior came to our rescue on the tree. I learned something very unique about a mockingbird. And the story of the mockingbird is a part of my golden thought for this video. We hope you enjoy this video, and now on to Junior with the cleanup of the big limbs. As you can see, we'll start out with a big tree limb. We did not find out when this came crashing down. It happened during the night, but by the reaction of our dogs, they knew something unusual had happened. They could not figure it out, but their barking was very intense. They didn't know, like I said, they didn't know what happened. And so with their barking, we knew something out of the ordinary was going on, and we did not know what. I thought about going outside and checking it out, but I really did not want to meet up with any kind of wildlife in our yard in the middle of the night, like at 2 o'clock. So I stayed in. I knew they were okay. They were in their pen. The puppies were in the barn at the end of the carport. They were safe. They were okay. So we waited and checked things out the next morning. When I opened the front door and looked out our front yard, there was this huge limb laying across, well, it wasn't all the way across the lane, but it was down onto part of the lane. While I did not contact Junior the day the limb fell, I did text him on the day they were scheduled to come home. Junior faithfully mows our yard every 2 weeks, and this happened to be the week. We knew when he comes and sees a tree down, he would tackle it, and we wanted him to have the proper tools that he could bring along if he knew the limb was down. You may wonder what kind of wildlife we have around here, so I will name a few. The armadillo. We had a bad problem with them at one time, and they can root up the ground. They come around late evening and during the night. And our dogs would just sit at the fence just watching and waiting for the armadillo to come, and then the barking would start. And from what I understand, the armadillo cannot see very well. I Googled about their hearing, and the ability to hear falls in the range of good to excellent. And there were times I was in the puppy barn taking care of puppies, and they would go under the barn, and their hard shell would be hitting the floorboard of the barn, and I did not like that at all. So anyway, we had help come in to take care of the armadillo. The more wildlife we have around here are wild hogs. We had an experience with wild hogs we hope we never have to go through again. We knew they were in the field for quite some time, but since we were not farming the land, as long as they stayed in the field, we let them alone. If they hit a property that they're farming, they can destroy a crop in short time. And then we saw signs of them coming into the back corner of our yard, and then up the field line, about halfway up the side, they came into the yard again, and that got close to our back door and close to the dogs. So we got someone involved that can help us in this. We did a video on this, and we will post the link for the video that we did of the wild hogs, and you can see from the beginning what was done and what the results were. And what other wildlife do we have around here that could get the dogs barking at night? One thing are the beautiful deer. I go out at night sometimes and shine the light across the field. I see eyes and I know it's deer, but I enjoy watching deer evenings, especially when they're traveling from the woods behind us through our field. Sometimes they're meandering and eating as they go. Other times they're going with a purpose to get across the road and into the next woods. And I'm often fearful for them crossing the road, afraid a vehicle's going to hit them. At nighttime out here, we have had 2 deer and 1 wild hog hit in front of our house. In fact, one night I heard when the vehicle hit the deer, I heard the bang, and I thought someone probably hit our mailbox. And when I went out the next morning, there was a deer on our ditch bank. But anyway, deer can absolutely cause dogs to bark at night. And yet another wildlife that we've seen here is the coyote. And why in the world do coyotes end up at the back corner of our yard? Should it cause for concern? They were much closer than I would want them, but I think I know what drew them out into the open. And we actually did a video of this. I have the coyotes on film. And we will share a link for this video, and you can see the story of the coyote. I will say that's the only time we did see the coyotes, although we hear them in the woods, they're howling, or whatever coyotes do. And yes, that will get the dogs barking. And one more wildlife I will mention. The dogs are barking and barking. So we got in the vehicle and drove around. Now this was early evening. It wasn't in the middle of the night. But drove back behind and saw some cute little rabbits. So yes, even a cute little rabbit can get the dogs barking at night. But we knew this particular night they heard a sound that they were not accustomed to hearing, and they were intense on trying to figure out what's going on and to protect their space. In talking about our brothers and nephews that have offered to come and do for us, they knew the back garage there, the side walls, were in desperate need of repair. Material was here, left from the previous owner to do it. And so earlier they called a work day. It was our brother Junior, 4 nephews, and some others. And they came and replaced the siding on the back garage. Oh, they did some other things that day too. But that was the main project they came to do and get done, and they got that done. We do have videos of that work day. They're in 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. And then this spring, we had both garages painted. We are enjoying the fresh look. Well, the barn at the end of the carport is, I don't know what they think of me talking to the camera. Traffic going by, that's okay. I'm talking to my YouTube community, so that's fine. Let them think what they want. Anyway, the trim on the Miracle Barn, or the barn that's at the end of the carport, that's also the same as what the garages are. We had painted that earlier. And then the roof of the carport also is down the same line. Having said, I don't care what people think about me talking to the camera, because I'm talking to my YouTube community. Welcome, 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 all our new subscribers. Every time we say that, we sincerely mean it, so welcome. And if you've been with us for a while, welcome back. And if this is your first time with us, we hope you enjoy the video and consider subscribing. I will say the majority of our action here on the homestead that we video is kitchen action. But there are things that bring us out of the kitchen to video. And this happens to be one of them. And so Junior came to our rescue on the tree. And then we had something happen in the back of the dog pen that one of our nephews came to our rescue on that. Okay, folks, I thought I should give an introduction to our next need of a rescue. One morning coming out to take care of the dogs, do the dog chores like normal, I noticed some stuff dragged into the yard that I was wondering, what in the world? Bottles of things. What in the world? And I didn't think anybody would have been here and pitched it over the fence, but I didn't know what to think. Later that morning at the back kennel back here, which the only time we use that is for the dogs just to meander in and out like they want to. Their dog barn is up here by the house. But I saw a blue bucket on the outside of the kennel. I thought, well, where in the world did that come from? Been years since we had a blue bucket. I couldn't even remember it. Then I remembered in the kennel there's a corner shelf, and I knew there was some stuff up there, but I think the dogs get to it, so it's been there for years. I forgot about it. So I thought, well, I'm going to go out there and just check to see if there's anything else I need to get out of there so they don't get a hold of. And when I opened that door, I would have had to put my head in and look up. But what I saw straight across from me, which was on the back side of the kennel, there's an opening that has a screen on it. And you'll see that there's a board halfway up, and that is because one of the dogs decided they want to get out. Evidently something they wanted to chase, and they bailed through the screen. So thankfully they got them back in, and then I put a board up there so they can't bail through the screen again. But laying on that seal was a black snake, all coiled up, minding his own business, wasn't bothering us, just minding his own business. I knew it was a black snake. I knew it wasn't poisonous. I knew I didn't want to kill it because they do kill poisonous snakes, but I didn't want to have to deal with it. So I remembered Junior, our brother, and our nephews, if you ever need us, call. So I called our oldest nephew to see if he could come take care of it. He said he'll be right here. So that's what led up to the snake incident. And the only thing I can figure out, the shelf, the dogs cannot get to it. The only thing I can figure out, that snake was in there, and in his meandering around in there, he got up on that shelf and knocked stuff down, and then the dogs carried it on out. Then they checked on the other side of the kennel, and there's a snake skin in there. But it said it could very well have been the snake that was in there, because at the top the block wall goes part way up, and then yeah, they could easily get from one side to the other. So anyway, that's what led up to a rescue with a black snake.
Hey, buddy.
Oh! Oh!
I'm out of here.
Now, I'm not going to let him get you. Have you ever felt what a snake feels like? I will not let him get you.
Hey, Dad.
Now, you see what he's trying to do?
Yeah, he's trying.
He's trying to get his head out.
Yeah.
That's the reason he wrapped around me. He's trying to get his head out.
Aww.
All right, Dad.
Okay, you can let my hand go now.
The snake.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want to go in the bucket. That's
Ready?
mean.
Y'all keeping us safe? After the snake was out of here, then we rotate the dogs. We have 3 different pens, 3 different sizes. So morning, afternoon, and evening we rotate so they all have a turn in it. And this is the biggest pen here where they can run full tilt if they want to. It's a beautiful sight to see them stretched out running. But anyway, after Jacob left and took care of the snake, the door was left open, so I went out to close the door, and these 2 were with me. They very cautiously went in there and sniffed around a little bit and came back out. So y'all knew there was a snake in there, didn't you? Yes. Dakota and Jasmine. Where'd you go, Jazzy? Here, there we go. Okay. All right, now Martha's go to the house. Theo, Juliana, and Cody are where these two will probably go. They're in the barn because it's air conditioned. Got to take care of our dogs. They take care of us, so we got to take care of them. Because it is in the 80s out here, about 90. Uh-huh. Yeah, so y'all going to go to the barn? All right. In the meantime, Martha's going to go to the house because Martha has work to do, okay? Thank you for being with me. Thank you for not knocking the camera over. Hey, Juliana. Hey, Juliana. Yes, Juliana. Oh, here comes Theo, too. Yes, Theo and Juliana. And Cody's in the other run over there is Cody's space, but oh, he's up there waiting on me at the front. At the sliding door is my Cody. Yes. Okay. And now for the golden thought. Howdy, folks, and welcome to the golden thought of this episode. We're the twins, Marvin and Martha. Marvin is better known as Buddy. The golden thought today is inspired by the tree limb that fell and the possible birds that lost their nest and what I witnessed with a mockingbird. Luke 12:6 and 7. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins, and not one of them is forgotten before God? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore, for you are more value than many sparrows. And after we were finished cleaning up, I told Junior that I was wondering how many little baby birdies might have fallen out of their nest or their little homes destroyed, and I looked on the ground to see if there's any little ones on the ground, and I didn't see any baby birds that were on the ground that were helpless. Later, I saw a little mockingbird. It was big enough it could stretch its wings, exercise its wings. Yeah, bud, it was hopping across the front yard. And I told Junior, oh, there goes a mockingbird. And I was feeling so sorry for it. And then he said, they will communicate back and forth and they'll probably find the baby. And so I Googled the characteristics of a mockingbird and how they do if birdies go back to the nest after they initially leave. And I found out the mockingbird, when the babies leave the nest, they do not go back. The mother mockingbird prepares for the next brood. The father mockingbird, for up to 2 to 3 weeks, will still look after and tend to the babies, feed them. They've taught them the survival skills while they were in the nest, and that continues on after they're out of the nest. But for up to 2 or 3 weeks, the birdies don't necessarily stay together if there's more than one baby. But through their calling, he knows where his babies are, and he will look after them, feed them for up to 2 to 3 weeks. And I guess when he feels like they can handle the world, then he lets them go. So that made me think of God, our Heavenly Father, how he watches over us. He knows his children. He knows where we are. He cares for us, and he provides for us. And here in Luke 7, it says, but the very hairs of your head are all numbered. That we are special to God, like the mockingbird eventually abandoning the babies because they can handle the world. Jesus, God, will never abandon us. He is with us to the end. And when our course on this life is done, he's going to call us home. Isn't that right, buddy? Yes. Jesus already called Mom and Dad and Brother Merle, Brother Paul, Brother Ray, and Betty. That's right. When Jesus says it's our turn, then we can go too. That's what Daddy told Buddy before he passed away. When Jesus says it's Buddy's turn to go to heaven, then Buddy can come. Going to heaven is to be a grand reunion with Jesus and our loved ones gone on before. 3 brothers, Ray and Betty, that's husband and wife. They both passed away already too. So I want to thank you for joining us in this video. It had us outside, different things happening. So today's lesson was inspired by the mockingbird. We hope you've been blessed, encouraged, and inspired. And until God calls you home, hang in there with Him. Know that He loves you and is watching over you. Thank you, and God bless. Good job, buddy. Shake my hand on that one. Yes, sirree.